Asia now. Government data has shown that core consumer inflation in Japan's capital accelerated in November and stayed above the central bank's 2% target. Japan's core consumer price index, which includes volatile fresh food costs, rose 2.2% in November from a year earlier. Another index that strips away both fresh food and fuel costs, which is closely watched by the Bank of Japan as a better gauge of demand-driven inflation, rose 1.9% in November. India's economy growth slowed in July to September, driven by weaker growth in manufacturing and consumption, increasing pressure on the central bank to lower interest rates. Data showed that India's economy expanded by only 5.4% year-on-year. The growth in gross domestic product was lower than the central bank's estimate of 7%. The gross value added, a measure of economic activity, saw a modest 5.6% growth, easing from 6.8% increase in the previous quarter. Government data showed that India's fiscal deficit for April to October totaled $88.79 billion, or 46.5% of the annual target. Net tax receipts received $154.6 billion, 51% of the full-year goal, slightly up from the same period last year. Total government spending was $293.3 billion, around 51% of the target, with lower expenditure attributed to earlier general elections. Capital expenditure stood at $55.7 billion, down from $65.3 billion a year ago. The fiscal deficit target for the year 2025 is set at 4.9% of GDP, down from 5.6% last year. Now, moving to the markets, and global shares have traded lower as markets discuss impact of Trump's proposed tariffs and how it will shape global economy and trade. In the United States, this Friday marks an abbreviated trading day. The S&P rose 0.3%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average traded 0.3% higher, and the Nasdaq rose 0.4%. In Europe, France's CAC 40 was nearly unchanged, while Germany's DAX edged down 0.1%, and Britain's FTSE 100 declined less than 0.1%. In Asian trading, Tokyo's Nikkei 225 index fell 0.4%, South Korea's Kospi lost 2%, Hong Kong's Hang Seng index gained 0.3%, and the Shanghai Composite surged 0.9%.